Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to learn how to use the Gemini API by Google. It comes in three different sizes, the Ultra, Pro and Nano. It's an advanced AI model. And at the moment, only the Pro model is available. The Nano and Ultra are yet to be launched. So in this tutorial, we'll be using the Gemini Pro with Python. Now, if you click onto the Read API docs, it's going to take you to this section called as Quick Start with Python. And what you can do is you can either clone this Google Colab notebook and run all the code snippets that are given below and test it out for yourself. Or if you want to run it on local, you need to have Python 3.9 plus installed onto your PC and you need to have Jupyter as well. What I have done for this tutorial is that I've cloned this notebook and customized it for this video. And I'm going to use some sample prompts to see what kind of responses the Gemini Pro model is going to give it to me. So the first thing that we need to do is install the Python SDK package. I'm going to click on this and make sure that it runs and gets the package installed. Now, once the package is installed, we will need an API key. So click on the link Get an API Key and it's going to take you to this Google AI Studio. This is where you can click on the option Create API Key in New Project and it's going to generate an API key for you to access the Gemini API. If you do not have an API key, you won't be able to access the model. Now, what I've done is I've already created an API key for my project and you're going to go into the secret section. And over here, you're going to paste the API key value here in the value section. And in the name, you're going to name it as Google underscore API underscore key in caps. Make sure it's in caps. And also do not forget to turn on the option called as notebook access. If you keep this off, you won't be able to access the API key inside your notebook. Now, coming back to the code section, what we're going to do is go with the code snippets. First, we need to import the necessary packages. And then you need to import the user data. The user data stores your API key. And then import the environment variable. You need to fetch the environment variable. So click on that so that you get the API key. Now, this section talks about the different models that Gemini API has. So the list underscore models method lists all the models that Gemini API has. And when I run this, I'm going to get two models, Gemini Pro and Gemini Pro Vision. The Gemini Pro model just accepts text prompts. So you give a text prompt, you will get a text-based response. And the Gemini Pro Vision takes in text as well as image prompts. So in this tutorial, we'll be looking into the Gemini Pro model. So the first one is how to generate text from different text inputs. So first step would be to actually create the model, which is to instantiate this. Once the model is created, you can use the generate underscore content method. This accepts the prompt. Now I have given a sample prompt that is create an Instagram social media content strategy for a new content creator in market. Let's see what response it gives us. And here's a thing to remember. Make sure that your prompt is not illegal or it's not offensive language. It does not have any offensive language. It's not hurting anyone's sentiment. Because if you pass any kind of prompt like that, it's not going to give you a response and it's going to give you the reason why it failed to return a result. So for this prompt here, we can see that it has given pretty good response. Set your goals and objectives. Choose your platforms and content formats. It also talks about engaging with your audience, utilize social media analytics. Pretty much up to date and not at all a bad response. Now, here's how you can check whether your prompt is actually following all the rules and it's not failing. So if you click on response.prompt underscore feedback, it's going to give you all these safety ratings. Does it have harm category, sexually explicit, negligible? Harm category, hate speech, harassment, dangerous content. So just make sure that your prompts are perfect and it's not violating any rules. Here's another option called as response.candidates. Now you've got one response from the model. If you want to see all the other possible options and other possible responses, you can click on response.candidates and it's going to give you all the other responses. So you feel free to choose whatever aligns with your needs. The next thing is making sure that you are not passing 60 requests per minute. This is one thing to remember. The Gemini Pro model accepts only 60 requests per minute. If you cross that or if you need extra limit, you need to ask for a rate limit increase. Now, if you want a stream response for the prompt that you've passed in, you need to pass in the parameter stream equals to true, and this is going to give you the response in a streamed format. This is how a streamed response looks. The next thing is using Gemini Pro model to create chat conversations. So you can use a Gemini Pro model to create the model, and then you can use the start underscore chat method to create a chat session. If you want to store the history of your chat, you need to pass in the history as a list, and this initializes the chat for you. Once you've initialized the chat, you can actually run a sample prompt and see what kind of response it gives. You need to use the send underscore message to pass in your prompt. And once we click on chat.history, we're going to get the entire chat history. So if you look, I've passed in the prompt how to explain thermodynamics to a young child. So it's given a pretty better response, like for a young child. I've also updated the prompt in a way like how about a more detailed explanation to a high schooler. Now for this function, what I've done is I've used a streamed response again, and let's see what kind of response it gives us for this prompt. It's explaining for a high schooler what is thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics has many applications in the real world. As you can see, you can use these functions to create your own custom application or your own use case. That's all for this video. I'll be creating the next video on how to use the Gemini Pro Vision model using image and text data. Thanks for watching, and feel free to share your feedback in the comment section below.